guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to review another Collecta figure, as Collecta is definitely one of my favorite brands as far as dinosaur and prehistoric figures goes. And this one is not a dinosaur figure, it is a prehistoric marine reptile, and it is this. This is the Collecta Attenborosaurus, and it is awesome. I believe this is a standard figure, not one of the deluxe, so it's not one of the larger figures that they have out. But it is a very beautiful figure. I always say that a lot of the time we take granted the standard line of Collecta, as most people usually look forward to the deluxe figures as they're larger, but the standard line packs just as much of a punch as the deluxe line does, because the detail on these figures is just staggering, and the paint jobs are usually just as nice and just as beautiful as anything that you'll get in the deluxe line, and they're way cheaper and they take up a lot less room, which is always a beautiful touch for these standard figures. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Attenborosaurus. Starting up here at the head, you can see that the eyes are very beautifully painted. They look very real. He really looks quite alive with those eyes. The only sloppiness as far as this figure goes anywhere, honestly, is these teeth. They look pretty good. They're sculpted really nicely, but you can see that they are painted a little bit on the sloppy side, especially on this side. So the teeth could have been painted better, but the overall sculpt of the figure looks awesome. I think you could probably touch those up to make them look more real and look better, but honestly, it's not that bad, especially if you look at it from this side, which would be the side I'd pose it from anyway. You can see the nostrils there as well, right there in front of the eyes. Beautiful detail all over the head. The head is sculpted very nicely, very small, and then you can run the length of the very long neck here. And as you go back, you can also see some more nicely done detail. There's not too much, as this would have very smooth skin, but Collecta always finds a way to get nice detail into something that would just have smooth skin. That always impresses me. And you can see as I move this that the primary color of the body is brown, but you can see little hints of other little sorts of brown and almost like an orangish color here and there throughout the body. It looks very cool the way they've done that. You can see some little skin folds here next to the flipper. Nicely done. And then it's got lots of little bumps all over the back half of the figure. That also looks very nice. They extend out onto the flippers and back onto the tail. And then again, you can look at the underside. Even on these standard figures, you get that cloaca, just to make sure that you know how realistic these figures are. Collecta always does an incredible job as far as their figures go on the realism. Same goes for this side. More of those skin folds back here. So the overall appearance of this Attenborosaurus is fantastic. I love the different shades of color too. Even back here in this flipper, you can see it gets into like a very dark color right there where the flipper connects to the body. So really nicely done. It looks beautiful. It really looks like a very real animal, in my opinion, the way that this has been done. The only downside is the teeth. That's really the only part that is iffy to me, but the rest of it is beautiful. One thing that Collecta seems to excel at are their marine reptiles, and the one thing that I think is cool about Collecta is they seem to release more marine reptiles, in my opinion, than any other of these mainstream companies do, because honestly, they just have so many obscure types of marine reptiles that you don't really see being released by anybody else. Specifically, case in point would be this Attenborosaurus. So I love the fact that they do that. I really do. I love anytime I get a figure that is of a species that isn't very well known, or you don't really see in toy or model form very often, and this is definitely one of those. For a size, as I said, it is a standard figure, so it's smaller. You're looking at almost 8 inches long, so it's really not too small. It's not a bad size at all. As far as standard figures go, it's not super tiny. For a size comparison, there's Mr. Papo T-Rex standing over him. You can see that it is a smaller figure, but the Rex doesn't quite dwarf it Like the Gastonia that I had reviewed a few days ago was dwarfed by this T-Rex. So you can see that it's not super tiny, but it's definitely not a large figure, won't take up too much space in your display rack. So this Collecta Attenborosaurus is a fantastic figure. It's truly a beautiful addition to any collection. I love the marine reptiles and the obscure species that Collecta always decides to release. Things that you just don't ever see. I really cannot stress how much I love that. And this figure has been out since 2011, so they made this figure quite a while ago. They've been doing this for a long time now, and they have never ceased to amaze me. Even back then, they were creating figures that were this nice, and that is just something that gets my complete and total respect, because this figure is beautiful. Again, the only downside is the teeth. I've mentioned that a few times, but I don't know. Again, that might be just a limited thing to my figure. I don't know if that was an issue with all of them, as I've only ever seen this figure this one time that I've purchased it. But I personally don't really mind it too much, because I think this thing is beautiful, an absolutely beautiful figure. So I will link you guys in the description as to where I purchased this. So go ahead, head on over, purchase this guy. He shouldn't be very much, as like I said, it's a standard figure, so he's much smaller than the other ones, and they are usually very reasonably priced, but you just get a ton of bang for your buck, because the paint and sculpt work on these guys and the standard figures are always as top-notch as you're going to find anywhere. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.